Welcome to Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima podcast, where we dive into real conversations that shape our professional and personal lives. I'm your host, Fatima and today we're exploring a topic that so many of us wrestle with, yet rarely discuss openly: imposter syndrome. Have you ever felt like you're not good enough, like your success is a result of luck, or that you don't truly deserve your accomplishments? You're not alone. Imposter syndrome impacts high achievers, leaders, professionals at all levels, and even the ones who seem to have it all together. In this episode, we'll break down what imposter syndrome is, how it sneaks into our mindset, and most importantly, how you can push back against it. Together, we'll share insights, stories, and actionable strategies to help you embrace your worth and own your success. So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get into it. Welcome, everyone, to Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima, Imposter Survivor Strategies. I have my girl, like, for real, my COVID bubble buddy, my homegirl for, oh my God, the kids are like 20 this year. So that would make 16 years or something crazy like that. Anna Hembrick is a dual certified family nurse practitioner, y'all. She's my nurse practitioner, y'all. And she's a psychiatric mental health nurse. She owns and operates her own practice. That's right, Black excellence. Currently contracting her services in psychiatric addiction medicine. Anna deeply cares for providing for her community. She is dedicated to maintaining positive work balance. As a wife, mother, daughter, and friend, she empathizes the importance of self-care and nurturing relationships in all aspects of her life. Anna brings a holistic and empathetic approach to both her personal and professional engagements, striving to make a meaningful impact on the community she serves. And I have been able to witness that for over a decade. So please welcome Anna Hembrick to the show, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So today, of course, we're talking about fraud feelings, but we're moving more into strategies about how we can beat and be survivors of those fraud feelings that may keep us down. So Anna is here today to talk to us about her definition of imposter syndrome, maybe some stories on how she's overcome it, and what those self-care journeys could look like as strategies for getting through those tough times when we're thinking maybe not so positively about ourselves.
For sure. So I've been a nurse since 99, but I started my journey to higher education in 2012. And the reason it took me so long is because I think I had imposter syndrome. I really was like, I know I'm not smart enough to do, anything more than that. I'm not going to do it. And so back in 99, you can get a diploma for a registered nurse. So that's what I got. And it wasn't until 2012 when I was like, no, it was 2009. It was 2009. And I said, I need to go get my bachelor's. I need to do it. I'm going to do it. And so I did that and I finished it. And I said, I can do this. So I went back like a year after I finished and I got my master's in nursing as a family nurse practitioner. And I said, I did that. And I got family nurse practitioner in 2014 and I worked, and I feel like psychiatric field was always calling me, and I ended up getting a second job, a little moonlighting job in addiction medicine. So I was working for a psychiatrist and I could do this as a family nurse practitioner for addiction medicine, meaning people who have addictions to opioids, cocaine, fentanyl, methamphetamines, alcohol. And with that, I could treat them with medications, but I found that I didn't have the whole piece to treat their mental health. So in family practice, we get, well, in education, we get like this much of psychiatric, most of it is more kind of the medical side. And I felt like I was not doing a disservice. I was doing a disservice to my patients by not just having that extra knowledge that I needed.
Mhm.
So I went back to school again and I got my psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner certification. So I'm dually certified in both. I really like mental health more than anything. Family practice is more like snotty nose, high blood pressure, diabetes, kind of snooze fest to me. So that's why I went back. So after I did that, I felt like I was complete. And so I was able to not only treat their physical addictions, but they're also mental as well. And in doing that, they have that they my patient. I love the addiction community. This is kind of where my niche is. Like I found my people, and I don't have a history of substance abuse myself, but I just found that these people will just really benefit from somebody who was compassionate, who, listened to them and wanted to deal with both their physical addiction and their mental health. And so I just felt like more rounded, and their issues are what many people deal with as far as mental health: the sleeping, the depression, the anxiety. And so rolling it back to imposter syndrome, obviously I was like, huh, you went back and did this. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter. Like I was working, I was doing these things. And the psychiatrist I was working for, when I told him I was going back to school, he was super excited. He was glad. He held my job for me for a year. And when I was done, and I was like, hey, I passed my boards and da da da. And I was like, let me know if you need me to, if you need any help some days. He was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I didn't hire anybody else. Like I'm wait, you can come back. I'm like, really? He was like, yeah, I didn't, and I only worked for him like part-time, but he held that for me. And I knew, I think my imposter syndrome kind of faded away after I became a nurse practitioner and kind of really got into practice, because I'm like, wait a minute, I know what I'm doing. I'm good at what I'm
Mhm.
doing. People
Mhm.
are comfortable with me. I have
Mhm.
everywhere I go, I've had patients that only want to see me or prefer to see me.
Mhm.
I was in When I was a family nurse practitioner, I was nominated to be in Top Docs, Richmond Top Docs, twice. And I was like, you know what? I don't need any outside validation, but I felt good about what I was doing, and I knew
Right.
I was making a difference.
Right.
So um so for here today, I just, in the climate that everyone is in, everyone is
Mhm.
was already leading stressful lives before all these different changes or whatever. Everybody has the same problems that they need to conquer in order to be healthy mentally
Mhm.
and physically. And
Mhm.
so everybody is dealing with anxiety. Anxiety is a normal thing to deal with.
Mhm.
Some of us have
Mhm.
higher levels than others, but there are ways that we can make sure that we are doing a positive service for ourselves and making sure that we are mentally resilient in dealing with issues that come about.
Mhm.
So I thought, why not do this with Fatima, because like queen of all things.
Right, right. I mean, it takes one to know one though. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
hey,
it was good.
yeah. So when I think about kind of our relationship and our journey that I didn't know I was creating, back in 2020, I didn't know that I was creating a self-care journey. I was on an anti self-care journey. I was on the journey of translating my fraud feelings and my imposter syndrome into um, excessive weight gain, into kind of self-bullying, and allowing myself to be almost an extreme pleaser. And it wasn't until we were in our COVID bubble and we were walking outside in 100-degree weather, mask free, no mask, um, that I started to recognize through our conversations and the ways that you and I began to interact, that I was on an anti self-care journey and I needed to figure out strategies, to which thankful for you, that you were able to help me think through, and having a self-care thought partner. So I really, encourage folks that are listening to hear these strategies that we are going to discuss today. Take your time, get a notepad, record this, download this, like this, share this, because you're going to learn in this episode real tactics that you can deploy for yourself to beat and stop your fraud feelings from turning into depression. So, with that said, Anna, I will give you the opportunity to walk us through. I believe you have some methodology, some steps that you want our listeners to hear. So, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just kind of wanted to dive into some crucial aspects of mental health and like focus on 5 strategies to enhance our, well-being, because mental wellness is like pivotal to our overall success, period. So the first one is like prioritizing rest and recovery. We already talked about high pressure lives and we have increased stresses right now, and we need to prioritize restful, you know, recovery and all of that stuff. So quality sleep, taking intentional breaks, um, setting realistic work-life boundaries, they're all nice to have, but all this stuff is essential for maintaining mental clarity and emotional resilience, right? So the first thing is like, um, you got to prioritize your rest. And so the first way to do that is like a consistent sleep schedule. So, you have to tailor this to where you are in your life. So young kids working, trying to take care of those types of things, but you got to have a consistent schedule. So like in my house, we're like, all right, we're going to shut these lights down at 10:30 and, period, point blank, and that's it. So, but the consistency of doing that, so going to bed at a normal time so that you can at least get, for adults, at least 7 hours of sleep is kind of what adults need. It goes up as you are younger. So, but for adults, like around 7 hours or more, but 7 hours is good. But having a consistent sleep wake schedule helps kind of internalizes and normalizes your internal clock, your circadian rhythm. So you can sleep in sometimes, but try not to make it a regular habit, no more than like an hour or so from your regular time. And then, just kind of make sure that you have a decent time frame. So mine is 10:30. However, I will say we are in our empty nest syndrome right now, and syndrome time of our life. I won't call it syndrome, but it's a wonderful thing. So the 10:30 thing is good. Now I remember, when I did have my daughter at home, she's in college now. Woo-hoo. It wasn't always 10:30, depending on what we had to do, ripping and running. So, with kids and stuff, we got to figure it out. But try to whatever, make that pivotal in your schedule. Optimizing your sleep environment. So you need a cool bedroom. So if you look up like, what's the temperature I should have my house? Some people are like, oh my gosh, I sleep at 74, da da da. They say um between 60 and like 67, 68, 69 degrees. In our
Ain't no
house,
way.
we
Mm-mm.
sleep at 66, child. Listen.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather get warm than try to get cool.
That's true. That's true. But
But,
man, it's
whatever's comfortable.
freezing.
But it's so great because you have a cooler environment. Your body does better in a cooler environment than a warmer
Mm.
environment. It also needs to be dark and it also needs to be quiet. So if you can invest in like blackout curtains, maybe some white noise machines, if you can, a high quality mattress and pillows that kind of support the way you sleep. Okay.
So
Cool,
that means
dark,
that I
and quiet.
can't. I can't list watch Golden Girls when I go to bed at night anymore if I'm trying to get on
Well,
this journey.
well, you can, but you need to think about like screen time. So
Oh.
like scrolling on your phone, tablets, screen time, and and this has a relationship to melatonin. So melatonin is a hormone that your brain makes to
Hmm.
help you sleep. And it starts producing more when it gets dark. It tells your body it's time for bed. But bright lights, especially like from your phone and tablets, they can keep your brain from making melatonin because it still thinks it's daytime outside.
Oh,
So
wow.
it keeps your brain
Okay.
activated, right? So it's
Okay.
gonna make it hard for you to fall asleep.
Okay.
So turning off your screens before bedtime can help you get better. I'm not so great with that, but you can do the night mode. I hate night mode. Do you use night mode on your phone? It's when
No.
it takes out the blue light background and it kind of gives it a little kind of almost like
Sounds
a yellow
depressing.
hue. I don't like it, but like I said, melatonin in your brain.
Okay.
So you're seeing these lights in your brain. It's like, oh, it's still light
Time to
outside.
go.
Go, go, go. Yeah, and it's not. And so I do notice that when I am scrolling, I'm like, okay, you need to kind of at least back it off a little bit. Like you can't
Yeah.
scroll and then, all right, I'm going to bed.
Right.
So, but
Okay.
you can if you want to. Some people actually go to bed, go to sleep with the TV on. I am not that person, but
I am that person. Yes.
whatever works for you. But just try to make sure whatever it is you're doing is a calm, relaxing um type of thing before you go to bed.
Down
So
some type of
if you're
activity
not a
down.
person, yeah, right. And so maybe reading a book, listening to
Hmm.
calming music, even journaling, like whatever is relaxing
You
for you
remember
to
you
do that.
brought me the sleep headset
Sleep
or
headphones.
the sleep
I
headphones?
do that every night.
Yes. You
Yes,
still use it?
every night.
Okay, I need to put mine
If
on the
I don't
charger.
have it, I don't sleep well. If I don't have it, don't sleep well.
Yeah, I
So what
forgot
I
all
do
about that.
is, yeah, I have Audible and I will put on a book that I've listened to before, but right now I've been listening to it's actually came out with a movie. I think it won an Academy Award or something like that. Conclave. It's like some thing about um cardinals and all this stuff. Anyway, I listen to that every night. And just because it's a whoever's talking has to have a soothing voice and it can't
Sure.
be like, oh wow, da, da,
Right.
da, da. No
Right.
hollering,
Has
nothing
to
like
be
that. But I
monotone.
have, yeah.
Right.
But I listen to it every night and I can go to sleep with that. When I forget to charge it, I do not sleep well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna try that
Um,
strategy. Okay.
yeah, so just try that because I'm always my brain is always going.
Hmm.
And so when I don't have something kind of like that to kind of,
Hmm.
focus other energy on, I end up, just turning around in my brain at night. So I
Hmm.
have to have a fan. It has to be cool. I have to have something like that going. I also do other things.
What about
Melatonin.
the pillow, the pillow propping thing?
Yeah, yeah, whatever's comfortable. I have to do like a thinner pillow, but then I always have to have a pillow on whatever side my husband is not on. The other pillows like that. So when I turn, I have this pillow to put. So it's,
Right.
know,
Yes.
um,
Yes. I
but
picked
there
that
are
up too.
right, but there are things that so because your melatonin may not be at the level just because at the level should be for you to go to sleep, but you can do other things to help you sleep as far as supplements. So there's magnesium. Glycinate is the one that's really good for sleep, and usually that's about 400 milligrams a night, and usually you take that at bedtime. Some people do melatonin, so they usually suggest about 0.5 to 3 milligrams. But there are people who need more than that. But you can try that in kind of short spurts. I wouldn't be someone who takes melatonin all the time every night because that can decrease your body's natural production of melatonin.
Okay. How much
Um,
magnesium?
400 milligrams, around 400.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there are all kinds of like magnesium creams you can put on the bottom of your feet before bed.
Mm.
Yeah, there's all like the Vitamin Shop GNC has these vitamin supplements. One is called Gorilla Dream. The other one is called like It's a sleep version. It's like Aura or something like that. And some of them have melatonin, some of them have some magnesium. Um, and they also like produce vivid dreams sometimes. So I've tried them, but listen, I have a lot going on during the day. When I'm sleeping, I want it to be no stories, no watching nothing. I don't want to be dreaming in these vivid dreams and real like I'm in a movie, but they can do that. Some people enjoy that. I do not. I've tried to take them before and they do okay, but actually magnesium cream on my feet works best for me.
I was thinking about that for Malcolm because he can't
Yeah.
wind down
Yeah.
the magnesium for his feet.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a place on Etsy that I usually go to. I'll send that to you.
Oh yeah, yeah, and we can also put that in the notes too, so
Sure.
folks listening and watching can grab it too.
Yeah. Yeah. So optimizing your sleep, screen
Sure.
time, melatonin. So let's talk about your diet
Ugh.
and your evening routine. So avoiding caffeine. So we recommend no more than 2 caffeinated drinks per day. So when you
Mhm.
think of caffeinated drinks, yeah, coffee, but also tea, but also sodas. People are really into these energy drinks now that have like tons of caffeine. So I'll tell people, try to limit it to 2 cups and then don't drink anymore, after 3 o'clock or something like that. Um, and then with avoiding caffeine, you should also avoid alcohol before bed. So a lot of times people are like, oh no, alcohol, makes me, go to sleep good. Well, the second half of your sleep, your REM sleep, it does negatively impact that. And so alcohol is not great. It disrupts your sleep patterns, reduces your sleep quality. Um, it's also a diuretic, meaning it makes you go potty. So if
Mm.
you are drinking, you will be up more than likely more because,
Mhm.
you have alcohol.
Mhm. Mm.
So
Makes
it's really
sense.
not good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Heavy meals before bed. So,
What's considered a heavy meal?
like eating late. I'm guilty of it. My husband usually doesn't get home till around 7:30. Sometimes we're not eating till 8 o'clock. Sometimes I'm like, listen, I can't eat this. It's too late for me to eat. I cannot. It just disturbs
Right.
my sleep, especially if you have things like reflux,
Yeah.
acid reflux, those things like that. Your body is concentrating on digesting this meal
Mhm.
versus just kind of the woosah moment it needs to have and just kind of
Mm.
relaxing.
We're telling our body to do something that is
It's not
contradictory to what we
natural.
want it to do, right?
Right. It's
We
not
want to
natural
sleep,
for
not
sure.
digest food. Got it, got
Right.
it, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's when you try to use your routine that you establish for bedtime, and then maybe you can do like the warm baths or the things that we talked about, some
Hmm.
light stretching or whatever, but
Hmm.
alcohol, caffeine, heavy meals.
Okay, okay. Got
Um,
it.
and then so we need to also natural light, physical activity.
Okay.
So exposure to natural light is like super important. So um we are getting up in the morning, getting ready to go to work. And so like the only natural light many of us get is on the car drive from home to work
Hmm.
because you go in your office and you're doing those things all day.
Hmm.
Not many people have time to do like a quick walk before work or a quick
Hmm.
walk at lunchtime,
Hmm.
or before dusk. So natural
Hmm.
light is super important.
Hmm.
It just helps your body kind of process the vitamin D, and that's also can be, if you have low vitamin D levels, can negatively impact your mental health. Can
Mm.
yeah, can um add to depressive symptoms and things like that.
How come?
It's just one of those, it's just part of it. When you get your annual physicals, if you're someone who gets your annual physicals, ask them to do your vitamin D level because we don't get as much sunshine. And it's
Hmm.
one of those things that impacts your mental health, same with melatonin, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
You don't really test for melatonin, but vitamin D is really not something usually that is done with your annual physical. So they're always checking or your A1C for your, sugars.
Mm-hmm.
Are you diabetic or da da da?
Mm-hmm.
Vitamin D you have to ask for. A lot of times you have to pay a little bit extra to have it, but at least get it at least once every other year or so.
Okay.
A lot of times people's vitamin D is low and they have to take like these once a week vitamin D supplements that they're so kind of potent that you just take them once a week for like 4 weeks and then they retest and
Mm-hmm.
make sure it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those things with natural light and physical activity. Um, when you're super busy, you are like exhausted. But honestly speaking, physical activity, and we figured this out when we were walking, because that is a stress reliever. It kind of helps lower the
Mm-hmm.
stress level a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it does
Mm-hmm.
get your body ready for rest in the evening. You shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
be like going to do like a whole workout intense walking right before bed because that kind of gets your pulse up,
Right.
get your blood and stuff like that. But if you can have at least, I don't know, 3 times a week, 30
Mm-hmm.
minutes at a minimum,
Mm-hmm.
getting some
Mm-hmm.
physical activity, that will help your mental health and your rest.
Right. At the same time. So, what about during the winter months? And, we live in Virginia and it's, gray. Are you
Yeah.
still getting vitamin D when you go outside and the
You
sun is not
are,
bright?
you are. It's not 100% dark.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting a little bit. And really it's more about physical activity. Even in the winter months, sometimes, obviously I'm not gonna be out here walking in 30-degree weather. If you
Right.
have stairs in your house, walk up and down your stairs, like try to get it in how you can, walk around your house if you can. Even light housework can do it. Vacuuming is something that, I don't want to tell everybody to do any, chores. Nobody likes that.
No.
But just those types of physical activities. And
Right.
even if you can use the things in your home to maybe do like a little light weightlifting. You can get some cans of soup that you have
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
walk around your house and do things like that just to
Mm-hmm.
kind of get your blood flowing,
Mm-hmm.
and blood flows to your brain. Everything,
Mm-hmm.
is positive in that aspect.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Okay.
yeah, and Virginia is definitely bipolar when it comes to the weather.
Yeah, it was just like pretty bright and sunny outside, and
Yeah,
now it's like
it's cold.
gloomy
And
and
I think it's raining today.
yeah. Well, as long as it doesn't snow, I
Yeah.
can
Yeah, I'm
not
I'm
deal with
okay
any
with
more
that.
snow days in
I'm okay
Virginia.
with that. But
Okay.
about the sleep, non-negotiable. That's it. Sleep is non-negotiable.
Okay.
Like if you are not getting your rest, everything else just falls like dominoes. So you got to make sure you prioritize sleep.
Okay.
That's the message for the sleep. Um, we need to manage our stress through emotional regulation.
Oh my gosh, she must be talking directly to me. All right. What does that even mean?
So it's inevitable that we have stress. Like it's a normal thing. It is a
Right.
normal thing to have stress, but we need to be able to be resilient. And there are things that we can do on our own that can kind of help with that. So there are techniques, mindfulness, grounding experiences. So mindfulness is um, thinking about just being present in the moment. Because we're always going 5 miles a minute, all this other
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you just need to just take a second. Sometimes you can just stop what you're doing, take a break, and just be present in the moment. Pay attention to what your feelings and your thoughts are and your physical
Mm-hmm.
sensations.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you just have to do it. So whether you have to go to the bathroom, get
Mm-hmm.
away from coworkers or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
kids,
Mm-hmm.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you got to have that time. You got to be in the moment. Where am I at right now? What am I feeling? What am I feeling physically? What am I feeling in my body? And so that just kind of, gets you in tune to your surroundings and just kind
Mm-hmm.
of bring everything back into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
grounding exercises kind of similar, but this is where you focus on feeling your feet. Where are my feet? My feet are on the ground. What am I hearing? What are my senses telling me? What can I see? What can I hear? What am I smelling, touching, tasting? Especially if you're highly anxious. So when you're highly anxious, you need to, you can ground yourself and you can do that in taking deep breaths And what am I feeling right now? I have my feet on the floor. If you're outside, people tell you
Mm-hmm.
touch
Mm-hmm.
grass. What are you feeling? What am I tasting? People have anxiety attacks, and this is a good way for them to kind of bring that down on them with their own kind of, mental thoughts. So you're having an anxiety attack and you're deep breathing, and you sometimes people they count down from maybe 100 to as far as they can get down or whatever. And they deep breathe and they just feel
Mm-hmm.
about, okay, what can I smell? So I'm at
Mm-hmm.
work, I smell my coworker's lunch. What am I, feeling? Sometimes I'm feeling like heaviness in my chest, but I'm going to keep on focusing on breathing, calming myself down. What
Mm-hmm.
am I hearing? I can hear the birds chirping. There's a cricket in the office somewhere, like things like that, and just kind of bringing
Mm-hmm.
yourself back,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then there's something called cognitive reframing. This is a big one. And a lot of times we may need a counselor or a therapist to kind of do that. But that's changing the way you think about and interpret like what's happening around you. So if you're a person who usually sees situations as like negative or stressful, reframing kind of helps you look at them in a more positive and realistic light. Um, I'm somebody who is a uh person who's like, I'm gonna pull the positive out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, my computer. One day I was rushing to go I had to visit a client, and I closed my computer and I had my pen in it, and it didn't let me, and my screen was messed up. And this was like a Mac that I had just bought because I had just started this business. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna go do this. So I was like, so I was like, okay, well, I still have a pen and paper. I know what I want to talk about. I know I can still call a pharmacy and say, send these medications in, da 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 da. I can still do that.
Right.
But I have the means to go get this computer fixed. This is not the end of the world. I can go get something else. I had a job that I could go to use this computer. And so I'm trying to pull the positives. It's always a positive you can find something.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I am a habitual, like positive person. Like I will
Yes.
always say,
Yes.
I'm always trying to find a
Yes.
positive. And there is
Yes.
always a positive. So I have plenty of negatives, but
Yes.
there's always a positive.
Yes.
So shifting your perspective, reducing feelings of being overwhelmed. And so you can also do this by journaling. Journaling is like simply just talking out your emotions.
It's amazing. I have a feelings
Yeah.
tracker. Do you remember we talked about that? I created a feelings tracker when
Yeah.
we started this journey together. And I was cleaning out some files and I saw Fatima's feelings tracker and I was like, oh my gosh, I have like a journal now that I'm writing in, but I remember that like I had an Excel spreadsheet. It was phenomenal and I can go back and yeah, it was great. So yeah, write
Yeah.
it down.
Yeah. And that's cognitive reframing, and you are recognizing what's going on, how you're feeling, what were the causes of those feelings.
Mhm.
And and you can go back and see kind of, oh, these are the things and that you can
It was
see
going
what
on.
things you need
Hmm.
to work
Work
on,
on. Hmm.
and so
Hmm.
maybe I need to work on, the way I talk to people, or the way that a lot of times we are super guilty of letting other people control our emotions,
Absolutely.
and we're in control of our emotions. And
Absolutely.
so it's so hard. It's a lesson that you will always, whether you learn the lesson or not, but we all do, because we all have coworkers, we all have family, we all have,
All have, right.
things that will, wear on your nerves, and you have to remember that I'm in control of my emotions regardless, and you don't give that
Absolutely.
power away to anybody else.
That's right. And by grounding yourself, I know for me, um, I call it taking a Tima timeout,
Mm-hmm.
where I need something, and I hate cold weather, and cold anything, but I need something cold to put my hands on, and
Yeah.
I need to like do some deep breathing, and I need to count, but I need
That's
to visually count. Like I need to see the numbers going backwards, and I
mm-hmm.
need to use all sentences is what I'm saying. Because
Exactly.
when I do that, because I'm a busybody and my brain wants to do 1,000 things at once. If I concentrate every single thing on that grounding at the exact same time, I will go from 1,000 to
Yep.
zero super fast. And so I've had
Yep.
to practice it, obviously. That I'm high stress, high anxiety, high achieving. I'm a screamer. I don't do anything calm. I turn the light switch on loud, like I'm just everything. And so
Yep.
in my 40s, I've had to learn that I am giving away my superpower by reacting, and it's causing me damage physically, emotionally, monetarily. And so I can absolutely say, guys and gals, without hesitation, the things that Anna is talking about are the things that I have used to get through the toughest times. So please
Yeah.
take a note, write it down, record it, keep it, and practice it.
Yeah, emotional self-regulation for sure. Even in we as I've moved through this journey in getting more education, all this stuff, things that I didn't know when I was a young mother, or
Mhm.
things that I can share with parents and my patients now. It starts, it starts when you're pregnant,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
what are these babies marinating in?
Mhm.
If you have
Oh
a
my
high
God, you're so
stress,
right.
yeah, what are these babies marinating in? And it's so hard, and everybody, like we said, has life stressors. But I always remember, if I have friends who are pregnant or my patients who are pregnant, I always remind them, what are these babies marinating in? Remember, your childhood, nobody is unscathed in their childhood,
Sure.
and we all, and even myself, we could have done some things differently, but there's no handbook for this. We learn
Okay.
based off what we were exposed to growing up.
Exposed
So,
to, taught, right?
right.
Absolutely.
But you don't know until, you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
But this this generation of children in K through 12 and in college, they deal with a whole different experience than those of us who are Gen Xers, all
Mm-hmm.
that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff, like in your
Mm-hmm.
40s and
Mm-hmm.
above, late
Mm-hmm.
30s or so.
Mm-hmm.
So they are a much more anxious and depressed generation. And
Why do you think that is?
I blame it mostly on social media, because
Yeah.
social media is, I mean, it's almost you know, it's almost like you have to have it in a way, because people, we are, as a society, has moved away from community and more so individualism. And so that's a way that people can connect with their families, because we're just so busy. We
Mm-hmm.
have to work. At this point, most people have to have a two parent household, or have somebody else. Everybody has to work. These kids are in daycare, or they're by themselves, or they're with,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
another family member or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so,
Mm-hmm.
we have gotten away from community. And so these
Mm-hmm.
kids just have more anxiety, more depression, and
Yeah.
they are hit with these iPads and these tablets and these all these different things when they're so little, and they're swiping, and
Yes.
they are growing, their brains are growing in this society that has just so much going on. But we don't teach them how to emotionally regulate when they're little. So they don't know how to deep breathe. They
Yeah, they
just know
just
how
get
to
a
be
device. They just get
right.
a
Yeah. Give them
device.
an advice. Shut them up.
Mhm. Yeah,
Take this,
yeah.
go sit
Take
down.
it. Take this. Go sit down. Play
So,
this game.
right, exactly. And that also, it doesn't really help them emotionally regulate, because now we're teaching them instant gratification, which, that's an issue
Yeah,
as well.
that's a whole
That's a
right. That's a whole nother
whole
show.
nother
Right.
issue. But things like teaching your kids how to deep breathe, because how you talked about, I'll grab something cold, I'll start
Hmm.
thinking, like, imagine if you had that when you were younger.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I just think about oh my God. Oh my God. Like
Yeah,
the amount of drama I would have avoided in my whole entire life.
right,
Oh
right.
my God.
So I in my coursework, when I was back in school, we had like a rotation where we would, talk with therapists, and also I work with therapists in my own where I work now. And deep breathing is a good thing. And I found that when they're little, you can play games with them like, okay, try to blow me over. And y'all practice.
That's
And when
good.
your baby blows at you, you fall over.
Right.
And that's teaching them how to deep breathe. So when something happens, then you can kind of pull incorporate because they already
Right.
know how to
Already
deep
know how
breathe
to,
because
the
they've
muscle memory already know.
practiced.
Right.
Yeah, they've
Right.
practiced with you and they're trying so
Right.
hard to blow you over when
Right.
y'all playing this
Right.
game. So they figure
Right.
it out.
Right.
Then, communication and talking to them about,
That's a
how
good.
you're feeling. It's not easy. It's not easy, but little things like that can kind of
Mm-hmm.
help. So
Mm-hmm.
so the self-regulation is super, super important, but we weren't taught that.
Nope. You
Like
better
when
sit down, stop crying,
right. And then there
don't
was
move.
the commercials on TV where your kids, do you know where your kids
Your
are?
kids are right.
Because we just
Yeah.
were, that was the generation that raised us.
Yes, that's 100%.
So anyway, so
That's
yes,
crazy that
self-care.
they used to have PSAs out there
I
telling us,
know it.
like, do you know where your children are? Don't smoke
Right.
in front of your kids. Put on a seatbelt. They can't just be in the car swaying back and forth in the back of the station
Yeah.
wagon. Oh
Yeah.
my God. No
Yeah.
wonder this generation is this
It,
generation.
yeah. Yeah. That's why it's like Gen X is out, and I'm Gen X, and they're like, oh, they're
Yeah.
feral. Da, 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 And
Yeah.
those commercials, those where your kids are commercials, never really rang to me because I'm like, I'm at home. I don't understand what that means, but that just wasn't my experience. But apparently,
But
that was
there's
a lot of people.
Runaways was a big deal. I mean, that was a
Yeah.
big deal. Remember the
Hmm.
milk cartons?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
had milk cartons. On the back of the milk cartons, it was not a nutritional value. It
Right.
was
A picture.
pictures and
Yeah.
bios of children that were
Yeah.
missing, that
Yeah.
just ran away or just was left alone
Yeah.
or just whatever, whatever. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think about during those times. And now
how things have
things
changed.
have
Some things
changed.
have
Yeah.
not changed, but a lot has changed for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, my third strategy, setting healthy
Yes.
boundaries.
Oh
Mm.
man.
So, gosh, this is so hard, especially in the digital age. We have our phones. I got mine right here.
Yep.
Like, people can get in touch with us 24/7.
So hard. Oh,
Like, I am constantly checking emails
so much
all
pressure.
day. And the just you always have people always have access to you, and you you end up overextending yourself
Mm-hmm.
when you are available to people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So setting
Mm-hmm.
healthy boundaries, part of that is saying
Mm-hmm.
no.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a complete sentence, it's a necessary one. You
Mm-hmm.
have to tell people no. You have
So
to,
hard.
right, whether it's work or in like personal relationships,
Mm-hmm.
it's crucial for your mental health. You got to
Mm-hmm.
say no. You can't be everything to everybody all the time. And I think
Mm-hmm.
we've had this conversation before.
Absolutely have.
And you have to tell people no. I don't
With
have
no
enough time.
explanation, no, and it's just N-O period. There's no
Right.
comma, there's
Yeah.
no but, there's no negotiation
Yeah.
on that. If
Yeah.
you can't and you can't and you don't want to, whatever it is, it's your
Right.
decision.
Right. It's your decision for sure. And then setting healthy boundaries, especially because we're on our phones, we're always um getting news, TVs, radios, all
Yeah.
this other stuff. So be mindful of how much news and social media you consume.
Consume. Mm-hmm.
Um, Constant
Mm-hmm.
exposure to this can be
Mm-hmm.
distressing and it can
Mm-hmm.
cause anxiety and fatigue. And I had to deal with this myself with, after the election and just consuming
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff. And what
Mm-hmm.
happened was
Mm-hmm.
when the TikTok ban came, and I was like, you know what? I'm I'm done. Like
Done. Yeah.
this is just I can't do
Right.
this. So I deleted my Instagram. I deleted TikTok. I love
Mm-hmm.
TikTok. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
People think TikTok is ridiculous. I have learned so much on
So
TikTok.
much.
It depends on
Mm-hmm.
who you follow. Like I follow
Mm-hmm.
other psychiatric nurse practitioners. I follow
Mm-hmm.
doctors. I follow pharmacists. I
Mm-hmm.
follow, women who are good at recipes. Like I have a whole like exercise that I have learned so much and I loved it. And I was just like, I'm not gonna be on TikTok anymore. and I'm going to delete. So I deleted the app, but I didn't delete my account because I did it I was just mad. And so I deleted
Right.
it. But then when it was like, okay, so I got off of it. And honestly speaking, I did feel better because the
Just took
things
a
that I was,
break.
yeah, I did. The
Right.
things that I was following, I was getting a lot of my political content from there. I listen to
Mm-hmm.
podcasts. I don't listen to the radio at all because I
Mm-hmm.
just garbage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I have a vast podcast diet. So not only I
Mm-hmm.
listen to true
Yeah, you do.
crime, but I was also listening to political stuff. I
Yep.
listen to, all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just backed off a little bit, and that
Mm-hmm.
made me feel so much better. And now I'm kind of just on like I will dabble back in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get into all the commentary stuff and people, fighting. That
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know kind of. I subscribe to this newsletter called 1440, I think it's called,
Mm-hmm. Me
and just
too.
give you straight facts.
Mm-hmm.
Straight facts.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Right.
opinion either way, just straight facts. Like, okay, this is what I need to
Got
know.
it.
Great,
Yep.
that's it.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
but you just have to
Yeah.
limit. You just have to limit that.
Yeah,
And
you do.
so it does. I did get back on TikTok
Yes.
because I said, you know
Thankfully.
what? There's just nothing like it. Like I
No, there
find
isn't.
so much joy in it, but I was on it a lot when I was on it before.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
found out it was going away, I was like, it's going to go away. I'm going to get stuck on it. And I was on it for hours. Yeah, because like, I'm not going to see this person anymore. What are they doing? Is
Right.
there anything new?
Right.
And I was just doing the most.
Yeah, but no, but I mean, it's about the boundaries. What I like about what you said is that it's okay to wipe the slate clean
Right.
and just hold, right? Like
Yeah.
visually get it out of your system until you decide what you want to do. So much of us, and you can use this as an analogy, when we need a pause, we just light the whole house on fire. Well, sometimes
Exactly.
you just need to take a walk.
Right.
Sometimes you just need,
Exactly.
like, don't set it off. Like,
Right.
and so
Right.
that's what
Right.
I learned from what you just said, right? Like, you were trying to make a change, you didn't know which direction. It was an all or nothing situation
Mm-hmm.
until it wasn't. And then you were like,
Right.
okay, now I can go back
Right.
and enjoy it in proportions, right? And it's okay to do that in every aspect with your friends, with your family, with your spouse, with your jobs. Like that's what PTO's for. These are the things, if you guys are picking up what she's putting down, these are the things that you can do to manage your self-care journey, to manage your mental state, to manage your fraud feelings, to manage your depression and your anxiety.
Right. Exactly. I didn't go back to IG though.
No, no
Yeah, nope.
IG. Okay.
No, I don't. But I understand why people do because, like, especially if you have a business, like all of the girl who does my hair,
Hmm.
all these
They're
people,
all,
like,
it's like a directory.
gotta
Right.
have it.
Yeah.
The ones that do have it, I made sure I saved their URL in their
So you
contact.
can go. Yeah.
Go to their,
Yeah.
go, but I didn't really use Instagram
No,
very
you weren't on there.
anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, I
Yeah.
didn't miss that one. So I haven't done, but
Yeah.
I do love TikTok still.
Yeah.
Um, so for strategy
Shout out to
4,
TikTok.
yeah, for sure. Build a support system.
Mm.
So isolation can worsen your stress and anxiety. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to build like a robust support system.
Mm-hmm.
So strengthen your relationship with friends, people
Mm-hmm.
that you enjoy being around, your mentors, even
Mm-hmm.
therapists.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if you need to seek professional support, please do so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you got
No
a
shame.
earache, you're gonna go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So you also need to foster your mental health. And if you need professional help, that's fine. There's no stigma in striving for like mental wellness. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
gone. That was an old thing. I still see people in practice, new patients every day. In my family, we didn't talk about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
finding because the way I have, done this journey of life that man, I
Mm-hmm.
need to talk about
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I mean, Beyonce don't go nowhere without her security,
she don't.
right? And so, I mean, you gotta have your support. I don't make a health decision without talking to you, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't make any mental decisions without talking to my therapist. And that's just how that, I mean, I realize, I mean, I ain't trying to say I'm trying to be Beyonce, but I mean, just aspirations, it's B. But no, in all seriousness, if you, what I love about having a village is that everyone plays a part, and it doesn't have to be only a transactional thing. Like you're my
Absolutely.
nurse practitioner, but you're my friend. Like there's, if you have the right boundaries, you
For
can
sure.
cater your life to the people that you need to have in order to work your life. Your life is nothing but a Candyland puzzle. You remember Candyland? And
Yeah.
like you're the queen of your Candyland. And so you got to have your doctor, you got to have your nurse practitioners, you got to have your people that pour into you to make you well-rounded so that you don't go on anti-self-care journeys.
Hmm.
So I stole the mic for a second. Sorry about that. I'm giving it
No,
back to
no,
you.
that you're right. And then you have to make sure that you are um like purposeful in your circle.
Mhm,
The things that you
mhm,
expose yourself to, right?
mhm,
You know,
mhm,
you got to expose yourself to positive people,
mhm,
positive influences, people that
mhm.
are going where you want to go, doing what you
Yes,
want to do. I'm not saying put yourself in a bubble. It's good to hear different
different perspectives.
opinions and
Mhm,
perspectives, things like that.
mhm,
But
mhm,
you're only one person. We talked about boundaries and setting
mhm,
boundaries and telling people no,
mhm,
but you also need to say yes to the things
mhm,
that bring
mhm,
you joy in life. And that means,
mhm,
hey girl, let's go meet for dinner, or let's go meet
mhm,
for brunch, or let's
mhm,
go da 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 da. You
mhm.
know?
It's gonna walk.
Yeah, go on a walk. Hey, let me call you real quick. Let me run this by you. Hey
Mhm,
girl, I need a plus one. You want to go to the
mhm.
engagement with me? And
I
so
need some arm candy.
yes. And so, and then in doing those things, like I went with you and I'm like, huh, I know this person. Oh, I know that person. Okay. But then we saw a person that you had not connected with for a while. And then a whole
Absolutely,
another thing opened up. And we're like,
absolutely.
it was
Look at
just,
this.
it was wonderful.
Yes,
And we
it
had
was.
fun.
And we had fun. And we had
We
fun
had fun.
together.
Yeah.
And it, yeah, it was wonderful. But that is true. Tapping into your community. And you know damn well that putting on heels on a Friday night was not my ideal of fun
Right.
anymore. I
Right.
really like my soft, fuzzy, warm
Yes.
clothes and my
Yes.
TV and my TikTok. Like I just need all of that at once and a blanket and I'm good. I mean,
Right.
but I do be having some wine, but now I'm gonna cut it
Right.
off a little bit before bedtime because that's what you said
Yeah, do
earlier.
that.
But I was not expecting to have such a great time on Friday, right?
Mhm.
Like that was such a wonderful after working all week and getting then I got dressed later in the day basically to go out. It was like,
Right.
oh, I forgot a couple things.
Yeah.
It reminded
Yeah.
me of a little bit of who I was. Like
Right.
I do like a little bit of
Oh,
this.
just a little bit of socialization. It don't
Just a
have to be
little.
a lot.
Yeah,
Don't have
no,
to be
I
a
don't need
lot
a whole
all the
lot.
time, but it
Right.
really was good. The last time I had done that was like for a wedding or something,
Yeah.
but not anything where, we're just going to award ceremony. Nobody that we knew were giving
No,
it,
right, right,
but it was
right.
just a great
Great.
experience and
Yes.
people were just beautiful and the love that was there and
The
the support
love that
that was
was there.
there
Shout out to
was,
100 Men of
yeah.
Color Awards. Yes, absolutely.
It was wonderful to be in that environment and just get fed,
Mhm. The
spiritually as far
energy,
as just
spiritually
being,
fed.
yeah,
Yes.
and
In the space
community,
of, yes, it was wonderful.
community.
It sparked so many things, like you said, like there's just so many future partnerships that spun off from that evening. It is just phenomenal. Like it
Yeah,
just, it's a wonderful journey to be on this self-care journey that you just kind of helped me design in 5 years ago. Um, Allowed me to get to a place where I no longer have to work on a W-2 and that I didn't even know, right? Like that was a possibility, right? And hanging out with you, and when you pick the right village and you are hanging out with people that are doing the things that you want to do, it will inspire you. And so I'm super grateful for that time. I can't believe it's been 5 years that put me on the map to be able to go to events and block my calendar off and participate in the community. So
for
it's
sure.
pretty dope.
For sure. Well, that leads us into my fifth strategy,
Yes.
engage in purposeful self-care.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
just
What does
talked
that mean?
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes beyond the occasional indulgences. Oh, I'm gonna take this bubble bath. I'm gonna go get my nails done. I'm gonna go get my hair
Mhm.
done. It involves
Mhm.
consistent, like habits that nourish your body, your mind, your soul.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
exercising,
Mhm.
hobbies, You can practice meditation,
Mhm.
um, putting yourself in situations where your spirit is fed, community
Mhm.
is fed, being purposeful. Um, and finding those things that you kind of let go when you're just so busy. You were someone before you were a mom, before you
Yeah.
were a wife, before you were somebody's employee or somebody's, contractor,
Mhm.
and you got to find what those things are.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you like to what, I love to like you said, like curl up. Let's one binge this thing and and have
Mhm.
me time. I
Mhm.
do like to listen to. I rarely sit down and read right now, but I
Right.
love
For
listening to
listening.
books.
Mhm.
And I've always been an avid reader since I was little, and just doing those things that make you happy. Meditation,
Mhm.
just having some quiet time,
Mhm.
just being thankful for what you
Mhm.
have. Like we said, pull out the positive, and every
Mhm.
night, I always go through, the things that I'm thankful for and just trying to pull out those positive things.
Mhm.
All of
I
that
found a
your
journal.
well-being.
I found a journal back there in the junk fest. Um, where in 1997, I had a list of 18 things that I wrote down that I was thankful for. And I created a journal and wrote about those things every single day in 1997. Like this type of stuff that I'm talking about, even back then, before I even knew what I was doing, I was 17 years old. That is the stuff that I needed to be doing consistently all of my life that I dropped, right?
Mhm.
So yes, please write it all down. It really, really helps. It helps. It's almost like a yearbook. Like, it helps you remind
Oh
you of
yeah.
the things that you wanted to
How
do
far
that
you've
you
come. Yeah.
far you've come and like all of that. So yeah, please write things down, y'all. Yes.
And with that, you gotta practice like self-compassion. You
Mhm.
got to be kind to yourself. You got to embrace your imperfections. Nobody's
Mhm.
perfect. Nobody. And if
Mhm.
you think you are, you're definitely not.
Mhm.
You got to
Mhm.
be, you got to embrace who you are. And yeah, you're always like, if you stop learning, you're dead. Like
Right.
there's no way,
Right.
right? You
Right.
gotta keep learning and growing. You just gotta be kind to yourself. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has all the right answers.
Right.
If you just try to be a good person,
Hmm. Everything falls in
try
place
to do
after
that.
that.
Right.
Hmm. It really does.
So, these are strategies. I mean, nobody's saying, all right, tomorrow I'm gonna sleep, I'm gonna go work out, and I'm gonna go make sure I call my friend, and I'm gonna go, so
Hmm.
start small. Just
Hmm.
like just start with something small that you can do. Okay,
Hmm.
I can set a bedtime. I can
Hmm.
do that. I can be
Hmm.
consistent with that. Some small little goal.
Hmm.
Set a boundary this week.
Hmm.
This week, I'm not.
I'm gonna tell
um,
somebody no.
Yeah, right, for sure. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. No, I have plans.
Hmm.
Sorry. No, I won't be able to
Hmm.
do that time, but
Hmm.
enjoy, have a
Hmm.
good time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Things like that.
Hmm.
So just gradually incorporate these practices, and keep in mind that like mental health is a journey, it's not a destination,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So just be mindful of where you are. What are some things that I could probably change that'll make a positive impact on,
Hmm.
my life
Hmm.
right now?
Hmm. I love
Control what you
that.
can control. Control what you can control. You can't control everybody else and what everybody else is doing. You can
Absolutely.
control what you are doing, the way you're thinking about yourself, the way you're thinking about your life,
Hmm.
things that you want to do. You can set goals and things like that, but just make sure that you are mentally healthy,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah. So that takes me back to, and thank you for that. That takes me back to our friends at TikTok. I thought about in 2022, I was in a slump and it was a real bad one. And my fraud feelings had created a very super strong anti self care journey. It was really bad. the worst I had ever been in my entire life. And in order for me to kind of get out of that, I got on TikTok and decided that I was going to post every single Tuesday between 8:30 and 9:30 a.m. a self-care tip. And for it wasn't for an audience. It was for
Yeah.
me. It
Mm-hmm.
was for me to get myself out of a slump and try to go back to doing things that I love to do, which was encouraging other people. So
Yeah.
there were times where I did not want to put on the right clothes, did not want to have the right lighting, did not
Mm-hmm.
want to
Mm-hmm.
do anything. I did not have anything positive to say.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I was crying right before
Mm.
those few seconds that I recorded. Sometimes I was crying right after, sometimes, like all the things. But what that did was, guys, it got me in a rhythm of being focused on something other than my depression. And once I was able to do that, I started feeling better. And then it opened up other doors in my brain. And then I created this self-care phenomenon that is not about just about getting your nails done in the outer, but it's about the inner. What am I putting into my body? Who am I listening to? What voices am I listening to? Am I listening to the fraud voice? Am I listening to my spouse voice? Listen to my employer's voice? Like, and listen to my kid's voice? Like, like all the things that you go through where people are critiquing you. I just put that all into this awful, like, recording in my brain. And so by getting in front of people again, and it had not to do with, making money or work, I found like myself again. And so sometimes I say all that long story to say, guys, sometimes you have to trick yourself. Even though you don't want to walk, you might want to like get a dog and so that you can have to walk your dog. Like do things in your life that you trick yourself so that you have no choice, so that it gets you out of whatever element that you're in. Life is really, really freaking hard and it's really super tough. But there are ways that you can beat your depression, beat your fraud feelings, and live a healthy, successful life. It's all about perspective. Would you
Mm-hmm.
agree?
Absolutely. You talked about, what you're like putting into your body. And we all know diet, as far as like
Mm-hmm.
what you're eating,
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard to cook a meal every day at home versus running by the fast food
Mm-hmm.
places, da, da, da. But it really does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta get enough water. I even struggle with
Mm-hmm.
that. Hydration.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
like
you're right.
the recommendation is so take your weight and divide that by half. That's how many ounces of water you should drink a day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I've never ever hit
Yeah.
that.
It's really hard. Like literally you will be floating away. So I try to do
Holy crap.
that. Uh am not always successful. However, like I'm somebody my daughter loves water. I have never been
I love water.
a fan. And so I have to do things like I'll put a hydration mixes. I don't do liquid IV because it's too much sugar. But there's like drip drop you can get at the Kroger's or whatever. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to put like
Mm-hmm.
a little flavor, a little maybe a little squirt of a Mio or
Mm-hmm.
something in the
Mm-hmm.
water.
Mm-hmm.
But able to do that. Water, liquid that like the soda doesn't count. The
Yeah.
coffee kind of really doesn't count.
No.
Although I'm like,
Pure,
it's liquid.
clear.
Hello.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
So
And if
like,
I don't have a certain amount of water, my brain gets a little
right.
loopy
Yeah, your
where I'm like,
brain, yeah,
yeah.
your body. And like when I see my patients, like so I deal with addiction medicine, meaning prescribing medications that help cut down opioid cravings, alcohol cravings, and a lot of times they have to give a urine drug screen. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, why does this look like apple juice? I'm gonna need you to start drinking, drinking some
Mm-hmm.
water for sure. And so
Mm-hmm.
it really does
Yeah.
make a difference.
Yeah.
And then eating healthier, yeah, I would love to eat clean and have everything organic and da da da. That's not the way things work for real. But
No,
just
they're
making
not.
sure you're getting your vegetables,
Vegetables.
you know, you getting your protein. You should be getting, 90 to 100 grams of protein on average,
Ugh.
things like that. And then if they want you to do more fish, less red meat, things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Again, incorporating small steps. If you can just increase your water intake, things will improve for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Agreed.
Trying to get more vegetables, whether it's the frozen stuff is just as good as the fresh stuff. The
Yeah.
frozen things, you can get them at Aldi, get a steam
Yeah.
pack,
Yeah.
$1 and whatever.
Yeah.
So like things like that, just to little things, gradually incorporating some things, just small little things can
Mm-hmm.
really make a big difference. And
Mm-hmm.
and then you're doing those other things, being mindful about kind of what you're exposing yourself to, and then processing your thoughts in a way. You like to journal, you like to do
Mm-hmm.
vision boards, you like to do
Mm-hmm.
those things, and
Mm-hmm.
that's wonderful. Those things are
Mm-hmm.
are great to do, and we have so much work that we can do, but we also have to be realistic
Yeah.
about what we're
Don't
capable of.
overstep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too much change too fast doesn't
Fast
work.
is, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
work, even if it's on a weight loss.
No, absolutely. I
Yeah.
love, so one of the things that I teach in my coaching practice is building journeys, self journeys, right? And we literally plot out, like, if you wanted to tackle the top 5 things that Anna shared today, we could put that on a journey, and so that you can map it out so that you don't try to do it all at one time. And so it's a little bit more strategic so that you don't overstimulate yourself, because I am an extreme overachiever. So I'll say, I'll be able to stop eating meat, drink a bunch of
Yeah.
water, no wine, cut out this friend, don't call that person back, and then I'm crying and boohooing. It's like the same thing as like murdering your TikTok before you were really to murder it, right?
Right.
So in my practice, I help people develop very strategic, basic uh, journeys for them to follow, for them to execute whatever it is they want to execute. And so I had to do that in 2022 in order for me to get myself back together, and and all of that. So
And
yeah.
it was a journey. It was a
Oh
journey.
yeah, it was
I
a journey.
remember. I remember 2022 Fatima.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tell the listeners how what you remember the most about 2022, Fatima. Let's be real and honest. Give them some tea.
I remember I remember like so Fatima and I,
Fat Fatima.
we no, well, no, I don't even remember. That wasn't even part of my brain. I didn't even think about that. That's something that
Oh,
you remember. I don't remember that at
absolutely
all.
remember.
Like that doesn't, when I think about 2022 Fatima, or even 2020 Fatima, that's not even where my brain goes.
Yeah,
My brain goes to your like stress level.
yeah.
And like we have the type of connection where we don't have to talk every day,
Mhm.
but like we'll do like, bloop, like check-ins, da da
Yeah,
da. And
yep.
I remember our check-ins were, I'm not, I'll be like, hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 and get this text of like dissertation text. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
Whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So high stress Fatima. I
yeah,
remember high stress Fatima. I remember,
yeah.
you know, but to see the transition, because and I remember talking to you when we were walking, and I'm like, no, why?
Yeah. Why?
Why? And I
Mm-hmm.
remember telling
Mm-hmm.
you, nobody's going to give you anything. You're going to have
Mm-hmm.
to snatch it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you needed this time to walk, if you needed
Mm-hmm.
some time to
Mm-hmm.
decompress, if you need some time,
Mm-hmm.
you have to take it,
Take it.
because you're a mom, a wife, an employee.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
going to give you that time because you're
Mm-hmm.
all encompassing, all doing all the things, Fatima. So this is just what you do.
That's
Nobody
right. I
thinks
don't even think
about,
about it. Right.
right.
And
No,
I didn't even think about it.
right. Nobody thinks about to give you any space.
No, no, no,
So
no.
I remember specifically because I had to do it myself in my
Mm-hmm.
younger, and probably
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it in my 30s. I
Mm-hmm.
had to snatch it and be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, just letting
Yeah.
you know, this is what we're going to do, or this is what I'm going to do. And the
Mm-hmm.
way that this is going to work is one night a week, we're going to get takeout because I'm not going to be cooking because I need to be studying. So
Yeah.
here's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
list that you can choose from of stuff that you want to get. Y'all make
Yeah.
that decision. Let me know.
Yeah.
but I need to be doing this because I need to study.
Yeah.
I boards
Yeah.
coming up. I got this, da da da.
Yeah.
You got to take it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
So in business, we call that block scheduling, where you
ah,
block
mhm.
off your time and your calendar to do a specific task. And I took that approach based on your direction and made that happen for myself. And the biggest way for me to do that, because I'm all the things that you mentioned, I play all those roles, but I'm also extremely an empathetic person. So I feel everybody's
Yes.
energy, whether it's positive or negative. So I had to be okay with their sad faces. I had to be okay with the
Hmm.
huffing and puffing and the attitude that I was getting back because I needed to do that for myself. And once I started doing that, I got less of those reactions, and mainly because I wasn't paying attention, but because I created new boundaries.
Hmm.
Going
Yeah,
back to strategy
you did. You
4.
did.
Yeah.
So, and I don't, I don't say this in my professional, interactions with people, but personally speaking, I will say either you're gonna get over it, or you're gonna die with it on your mind.
Yeah. Up
Because
to you.
it's not what we're gonna do.
Right. Right.
We're not gonna
Right.
do it.
Yeah,
So,
no, no, you're right.
so
You're right.
and I
You're
mean, and
right.
what you're asking is not
No,
end of the world.
absolutely
Like
not.
you're asking because you are a human being with feeling.
Right, right. I'm not a
And
robot.
you're not a robot. And you were Fatima before you were mom, before you were this
Yeah,
my wife, before you were,
yeah.
employee of
Hmm.
the year, before you
Hmm.
like you were somebody before that and you still are.
Yeah, yeah. You
And it's
forget that
important
shit
to,
though,
yeah,
man. Like, oh my God, you get into your, like, it's almost like you're an
the
actor. You get
routine of
into
just
your
doing.
role and you're
Yeah.
just like, yep, this is what I got to do. This is how I got to, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you need
Hmm.
this, you got this. Oh, this person has a problem. Oh, I mean, and you think about our conversations. They were so big and deep. Like, I was this person for other people's households, right? Like, do you remember that? Like,
Right.
that it wasn't just like, a situation here, a situation there. No, we're talking in the double digits of people. And
Yeah.
it just, I mean, it killed me. And
Right.
like I had to go completely, if any of these people are following me and watch this, like this is the reason why I had to just detonate it all. I had to do the TikTok murder. I had to be like closed. Like
Yeah.
everybody, all the everything is closed. Shut down,
Yeah.
shut down, shut down,
Yeah.
shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
only be Marcellus and Malcolm's mom. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I could do. That's the only thing. And then that's when I wrote that book, right? Because I was like, listen, I can only be these two roles. Oh, I could be an employer. I had to be an employee because I had to
You
take
had to.
care of
Yeah. We've
myself,
all
right?
had to. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But I shut everything down, and it's painful. It was painful. And it still is because I still haven't talked to people and haven't really explained it, but had too many job codes. I had too many, if I'm
Mhm.
speaking in Chronos terms, I had too many job codes. I had too many time clocks to punch into, right? Like that was crazy. Um, but having someone like Anna and who she is, allowed me to create a strategy, that then helped me create a strategy to open up my own practice to teach people how to practice self-care, how to get over imposter syndrome, how to self-execute. You don't need external forces to execute. You don't need those stimulants. You don't need all of that. You don't need the social media. You don't need the husband to tell you. You don't need the wife to tell you. You need yourself to tell you. And you need to tell yourself often, early, in the nighttime, in the daytime, all the times. Um, so, all right, Anna, take us home. What are final things you want people to know about our time today and to know it in general?
Um, you know, take care of your mental health, man. It's a journey. It's not a destination. You just need to focus, be purposeful in everything that you're doing. And you're going to get there. You just have to, you got to put in just a little bit of work. You got to invest in yourself.
Yes,
Self-care the
practice
right way.
self-care. Yes,
The
that's
right
right.
way.
That's right. That's right. And it's your way. That way, the
Hmm.
best way is your way. It's the way that you design it to be. And that is the why self-care was invented for this exact reason. So thank you for listening to Fraudulent Feelings with Fatima. Hopefully
Thank you for
these tips
having
and
me.
strategies helped you.
Mhm.
Anna, thank you so much. And I'm sure that this will not be the last time you're on this show. So
Thank you for having
get
me. I
ready,
enjoyed
y'all.
it.
More to
Thank you.
come. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
It didn't say stop
No,
recording.
I know.